What's the latest on the international health regulations?
Well, this is an all important deadline that I talked about a few weeks back. We have to keep an eye on these things, of course, to keep our readers in the US as well as abroad um, up to speed on this. It's a very, of course, perilous thing. The international health regulations and the World Pandemic Treaty, there's a lot of concern that if there's another major declaration of international concern in terms of a pandemic, that the lockdown could be even worse than 2020, 2021. We don't want that. We may never recover from it freedom wise. So this James Roguski very urgently shared this with me in the wake of me being on one of his programs that I mentioned recently. It's an open letter to world leaders. The deadline to reject the 2024 amendments, that's when they were made last, to the international health regs is July 19 this month, 2025. And this is a call for leaders around the world to invoke Article 61 of those regulations and reject the amendments. And the all-important website is rejecttheamendments.com. So the regs contain their own element for not taking part. Individual nations can opt out. That's what's being stressed here. The basic status of the WHO member states under the IHR, I mentioned the deadline, July 19 for the heads of state of 192 out of 196 nations that are parties to those regs to reject the 2024 amendments. There are four holdouts, Iran of all places, Netherlands, New Zealand, and Slovakia. They operated a little differently in the context of the procedure of this. So the deadline for these four nations to reject the 2024 amendments is March 19 of next year. They're on a little bit different track, again, due to the procedures and the red tape of how this thing operates. And Roguski is mainly calling on people to call the White House in the United States. For those U.S. listeners that are inclined to do that, I know that number is 202-456-1414. And you can wait to talk to an attendant who takes public input in person. Evidently, it's not pre-recorded. It's an actual live attendant. But you're advised to give very brief comments and to be patient and wait to be connected. The difficulty for UK and European residents is a little more pronounced in terms of getting their voices heard, but it's best to contact your members of parliament and spread this, spread the link to this episode of UK Column. Go to rejecttheamendments.com and spread that word, spread that website around your social media. That's what Roguski's suggesting. Anyway, he provided top 10 reasons to reject the amendments. These are just a couple examples. He's saying Director General of the WHO, Tedros, he would be empowered if these amendments are approved to declare a pandemic emergency based solely upon his determination with no checks and balances. And the Director General, Roguski is also pointing out, failed to properly submit the final version of the proposed amendments with at least 4 months prior notice as required by Article 55, Section 2. So evidently that rule was abridged. And also another example of the top 10, it's absolutely unacceptable that healthy people who are merely suspected of being exposed to a contagion may be quarantined, Article 27. So that's a protest saying that's unacceptable. And this just shows that there is a online poll about this at Reject the Amendments at that website. So this is just a punctuated kind of urgent message, guys, to keep an eye on this issue amid all the other headlines we're dealing with.
Thanks, Mark.